Good morning and happy 15 weeks out. First week of prep was a phenomenal success, down about 5 pounds right out of the gate. So really happy to see we're on a really good track for the fat loss right away. But strength in the gym is just skyrocketing still. Energy feels great. Feels good to just have some cardio back in place. And like I mentioned last week, the meals have just been so much more digestible. So I am a happy man. But we got a first posing session in the books this past week with Antoine Hamlet, who is my posing coach for this prep. And then of course we have Robin Strand doing my training and my nutrition for the prep. But nonetheless, we have a fantastic team supporting you. And I think that's the number one recipe for success, is setting yourself up with a team surrounding you who is going to support you, push you, challenge you, but also let you get your best package to the stage. Anyways, we are going to do our check-ins, and unlike my glitch last week, we're going to include the check-in photos up here this time. But yeah, we're gonna run through our rounds. I do have to get my fasted cardio in after that, and then it's into check-ins for work. But on today's agenda, we are taking you guys through a push day. So there's gonna be my push B workout, which is actually gonna entail chest, shoulders, triceps, and a little bit of abs, because we're in prep, so we train our abs. But nonetheless, stay tuned for some lots of good tips and tricks. Grab your pen and paper, because this one is one that I know you guys all want some good guidance on. All right, fasted weigh-in time. Make sure we don't wake up Olive. Not looking too bad though. Okay, let's go. Good progress. All right, perfect. 176.6, baby. All right, time to have a little morning peek. See how things are looking. Definitely looking pretty peeled so far. Not too lean, looking pretty full. First week of prep, looking pretty good. So we're gonna run through our mandatories, every single thing that we need to run through, send this all over to my coach, and then we'll see what we're looking like for this next week. You already know, baby. Pre-workout time. Letting the car heat up for 2 seconds. Oh yeah. And you already know, Code Chafe at Jack Factory. Save yourself on your favorite supplements. All right, off to Pure we go. Pre-workout down the hatch, and I'm fucking fired up. 15 is my favorite number. We are 15 weeks out, which means it's gonna be a damn good week of prep. Oh, and just like that, out in the sunlight, and it's actually nice out. Oh, 20 degrees. I was honestly not expecting that when I pulled out of my condo just then. It's like the fun thing about underground parking is you never actually know how warm it's going to be until you pull out. Well, I guess I could go out on my balcony, but I was grinding, working all morning, and then I didn't even need to leave my house anymore to do fast cardio because I just go down the elevator downstairs. Ain't that convenient? One thing I will say that I'm getting the direct benefit from so quickly right out of the gate of prep is, obviously with the smaller meals, I find them so much easier to get in, but I also find that means my meal timing is a lot easier to be on point and perfected because I'm actually appetized and hungry for my next meal. So in extension, that was really beneficial for my digestion last week, but going into this week, I've noticed a huge difference in my sleep routine because now all my meals are getting done so much earlier in the day. I'm getting to bed so much earlier again, up much earlier in the mornings, which is my most productive time of the day. So yeah, one would say I'm in like perfect motherfucking flow state right now, and it just feels good. So I'm happy to be here. All right, so getting into push B. So start off, I actually just like to get a good primer going. So all I'm gonna do here is just grab so that my pinky is on top of the black ball on the cable. I'm setting my shoulder down here, and all I'm thinking about is just getting extension, good flexion, aka good bend in the elbow, keeping my abs tight here. And unlike trying to think about kicking back through, I'm actually trying to focus on just pushing straight down here. So I find this is like really beneficial for myself personally before I do any heavy overhead pressing specifically, just to warm up my elbows, and then everything feels fan-fucking-tastic. So this is only literally 20 pounds, super, super light. I'm not trying to pre-exhaust my tricep. I'm just getting lots of blood and fluid around the area, get it all primed up. All right, so up next, we're gonna get into a cable lateral raise. Really trying to think is my arm is just like one straight bar. It's not trying to move or change position. I'm not trying to bend or extend at the elbow at any point in time. But you'll also notice that I'm really trying to think about just pushing away from myself, aka away to the wall out this way, not about trying to raise up into my trap. So I find thinking about keeping our knuckles towards the floor here, and we're just dragging knuckle across the floor. And I'm gonna go anywhere from like 10 to 12, just get a good light warm up, get a little acclimating set in, and then we'll get into the good stuff. So I also want you guys to notice that I'm bracing here to create stabilization. I'm also using my obliques to stabilize, keeping that shoulder low here now. And I'm doing the exact same thing. I just put you guys on a little bit of a different angle so you can notice that I'm not going out to the side straight out. I'm actually technically slightly ahead in that sagittal plane here. First set of the day here. Let's go. Into our only chest press of the day is going to be a decline press. Really good because all of my incline presses are kind of put on my other day of the week, which I find I tend to use a little bit more shoulders. So where the rest of my day is going to be purely delt focused, it's good to have something that I find I can just completely lock out on my chest. So the Pinata decline it is. So a couple of key takeaways. When I really think about keeping your abs stacked tightly, don't flare your ribs every time you're stretching into this. I like to think about cranking on top of this. You probably noticed that my elbow path is now going to be matching the path in which the machine wants to go in. Really just focusing on that elbow driving in, elbow stretches out. I don't care about my elbows going past my shoulders. There's nothing to happen back there. So I already did one full warm-up set at 12. So I'm just going to do a feeder set here with 2 plates per side and get into the good stuff. Working set number 1. Here we go. Now, could I have grinded out 2 greasy shit reps? Definitely. But I would have changed my form, which was not the execution intended. So we call it there. Good set. So, right from the chest into the shoulders, we're going to do one of my favorite shoulder presses, which is this beautiful Arsenal press. Probably one of the more humbling shoulder presses, but does it ever fucking do the job? So, a couple points here, a couple things. we want to think about stacking and bracing ourselves all the time. So in this, for pressing directly overhead, then my chest and hips should be stacking on top of each other using my abs to brace to do so. So there should be no arching when I'm doing a shoulder press. If you're doing that, you know 100% you need to drop the weight because your form is dog shit. So secondly, I'm always thinking about I want to keep my elbows relatively stacked underneath my wrists. So, for example, if I were to let my elbow come backwards as I come down, now I'm on a parallel with the floor. That's not what we want. So I want to think about coming down straight, up straight. So really, if we think about it, the elbow is slightly ahead in order for us to be in perfect alignment for that front delt fiber. So abs are braced, legs are driving into the floor to keep me braced as well. And then again, we're just driving straight up, breaking from the elbow, so maintaining that straight line of path. You don't need to overcomplicate it. Nice little warm up, and then we will get into the fun stuff. We're gonna do a little feeder set here now. So again, this is a new muscle group that I'm training today. I have not hit the front delt directly, so I'm going to do one warm-up set of about 10 reps. Then I'm going to do a feeder set of 5 to 6 to acclimate myself to that weight, save my glycogen, and then we're going to go for 2 hard working sets to fucking kill it. So they look fucking textbook and feel great. Set number 1. So everything that we just perfected in that warm up and feeder set is exactly what we want to replicate every single fucking rep. Standardization is key. Don't leave any reps on the table. And I forgot to put more weight on there. I just took my shirt off. Didn't actually put more weight on. I was like, fuck, we're gonna get like 20 reps here. That's fucking light today. Because it was my fucking feeder set. They're prep right already. Alright, good set. Let's go. Alright, into triceps we go. So, a couple of takeaways when we're thinking about a row press down. Number 1 is you want to really think about crunching down on those abs. I almost like use my serratus a little tiny bit to keep myself engaged down, but that does not mean concaving the chest. So, still keep your chest up even while keeping your abs stacked. I like to think about a slight little hinge, and then I'm bringing those elbows back into myself ever so slightly. Now, number 1 thing that I see everybody do when they do this exercise is they want to think about coming down and back and through themselves. But in reality, I should be thinking about pushing my pinkies towards the toes of my shoes. So you see how much more my tricep I actually get to use when I push forward and down versus trying to think about going back through myself. So really, it's about where you're keeping that tension. At no point in time throughout that rep do I ever lose that mechanical tension on the tricep. Nor am I losing my brace, nor am I changing my posture. Everything stays the same. Good elbow flexion, aka good bend in the elbow. Needs a good lengthening of the tricep. Means we're recruiting more fibers, which means we're building more fucking muscle. Ready for those shreds to come back though. Let's get that weight up a bit. Have a little bit more fun here. All right, so gonna get into a overhead press tricep extension. I like to go into a lunge here, and we're just thinking about pressing forward and up. Again, similar pattern. The more elbow flexion that I get here, the more lengthening of the tricep I'm gonna get, the more I'm gonna be able to get tricep fibers recruited. Now, I actually like to focus more on the stretch portion of this exercise than the contraction, but I'm gonna switch you guys to a different angle so you can see that a little bit better on my working set. Whew, spicy. All right, last shoulder move of the day. It's gonna be a standing lateral raise machine. So I like to think about standing kind of far back on the pad here. I want to hold these handles, but I'm thinking about pushing them almost forward and down. So again, like we were repeating earlier, I'm not thinking about doing a lateral raise directly up to the side. I'm slightly ahead on that sagittal plane, and that's the exact position that I want to be in when I get on this machine here. So think about knuckles to the floor. We're not raising up our shoulders and lifting into our traps. We're keeping the shoulders down to push laterally, aka out to the side with our side delts. All right, so obliques are tight, lats are on, keeping it low. Few partials. All right, almost there to time to pose. Okay, time for a little pose. Posy pose in front of the bay doors. See how everything's looking. Ooh. So bright over here, so bright. All right, that was a solid pump in there today. So my entire off season, which was a 18-month off season, I made a promise to myself that I would pose a minimum of 10 minutes every single workout. And I did give myself the exception of quads because post quad day posing is just like brutal. So during my off season, I was like, okay, that one day only. But aside from that, okay, apparently I can't hold my phone. Probably should just put you guys on the mount since I'm in my car. But yeah, realistically speaking, that paid off dividends because now that I'm getting into like practicing rounds of posing and like really grilling myself on my mandatories and my transitions, it's like everything is so much easier. Not saying that I don't have a shit ton of practice to do over prep because I most definitely do. Still staying humble here. However, I cannot express enough putting in time to practice. Doing things that you need to master during prep or things that you need to master for the stage, you shouldn't be waiting to learn how to do it during prep. You should already have that done and like a really, really good foundation in place. Maybe not have it like 100% perfectly mastered, but still have a really strong foundation so that you can just elevate it and master it and like fine tune it over prep. So that's kind of where we're at right now. So now instead of just doing 10 minutes of just fun posing, now I'm doing mandatory rounds where I hold my poses for a mandatory amount of time. And then there's different rounds that I do with different set times. This is going to help me on stage when we have to hold our rounds for God knows how long, depending on how the comparison rounds go. But for any of you guys who don't know, when you do a bodybuilding show, you're not only going up and doing your own routine, you're also being compared against people. And then the judges decide how many times they compare you against other people. So you need to be in condition. It's not just about being able to hit the shot for a split second. You need to be able to hold that shit and maybe do it over and over and over again. And that's where it comes. Mastering your craft comes from putting in the time to practice. Don't wait until like you're 2 weeks out when you're dead and have no fucking energy. Like right now, I still have a decent amount of energy. I have good mental clarity. So like now is the time to like have my posing routine started. Pick out my flow. All my transition work should be nailed. I shouldn't be waiting until I'm like super tired to do that. Anyways, that's my rant. My post workout rant for the day is practice your fucking posing if you want to bodybuild. But on that note, I'm honestly super stoked. Strength is still going up really well. And also, like, my muscle contractions are just going crazy. But I guess that's the benefit of doing a health phase right before you do prep. It's like, yeah, my calories just dropped down, but I also just got back on peak cycle. So I was just titrating up my dose for the past few weeks. So now that I'm on peak dose again, holy shit! It like I'm stronger now than I was with the food. Not that I should be saying that, but honestly, it's true. They're called performance enhancing drugs for a reason. Not that I'm encouraging you to do them whatsoever. That's not my encouragement. But you know me. I'm an honest, transparent, open book, and I'll always tell you guys straight up how it is. Nonetheless, for those of you who are interested on what I'm running for my cycle, I am currently doing 500 milligrams of test E enanthate. And unfortunately, I couldn't get my hands on masked enanthate, which is what I do prefer to take. So I'm taking masked prop instead. So I'm taking that at 400 milligrams and I'm taking 4 units of growth hormone daily. I was taking that pre-bed all off season, but my new coach wanted me to start taking it first thing in the morning fasted, so I have recently switched over to that. So I will keep you guys updated because I have noticed some differences. So stay tuned on the next video for me to fill you guys in on my opinion on growth timing and what's most optimal based on what phase you're in. Back home, got a couple meals in. We had to jump right into a few posing sessions because we had a busy day on the books. For those of you who don't know, I am hosting another athletes retreat for my clients. This time it's going to be in Burlington, Ontario. So I'm stoked to get a bunch of my international clients over here to Canada. It's going to be super, super exciting. So basically, I book out an Airbnb. Everyone gets their own room. I provide all the food for all of my clients, and we have a huge agenda. So essentially, we have 4 full days of events. Of course, we have the check-in day and the checkout day afterwards that are kind of a little bit busy because I do pick and drop everyone off from the airport. So it's kind of like a full inclusive service. All my clients just need to get their flights, show up at the airport, and have the best time of their lives. So this year on our roster, we are doing a bodybuilding show. So a lot of my clients haven't been to a bodybuilding show live before, so that's going to be so hype to get the team together and the boys together to do that. We're also doing multiple workouts at Pure Muscle and Fitness and doing some group posing sessions together, which are going to be super dope for some team building, but also for everyone to freshen up on their posing skills. But we also are going to Canada's Wonderland for a theme park day to ride some roller coasters. Anybody who knows me know I love the thrill. I love the adrenaline. So that's going to be some nice, good fun. And there's a couple other activities that we have planned as well, but I'm not going to spoil it all. I will be doing some videos for you guys. Hopefully, I will get a full YouTube video of the week. But given how those retreats usually go, they are crazy busy. And I like to soak in the moment and be present with the people who are here. But yeah, nonetheless, that one is going to be in a week and a half from now. So I'm getting pretty excited. And then I do have another one that I'm going to be putting off in California in the fall, which I'm very stoked about. I just finalized all the plans for that one as well. So stay tuned on the lookout for my Instagram post, because if it was anything like the last retreat, registration was up, and within, I think, a half hour all the spots were gone. So I love the enthusiasm. I love the fact that you guys are getting so much out of this, and also all of the friendships and the bonds that I see that come into fruition from these organized retreats are just amazing, because I think it's so good for us to have not only like-minded people who respect us and push us and challenge us and hype us up, but to have people in our own community who we know respect us on a deeper level, because for a lot of us that's a safety thing, but also B, it's a euphoric bonding thing that, a lot of us, unless you've lived our lives, you don't fully understand it. So I'm really excited to just get everybody together, and it's going to be a wholesome week. On that note, this concludes 15 weeks out update for you guys. Comment below what you want me to talk about next week. I will be covering over important topics that I want to address, but if there's stuff that you specifically want to hear about, then let me know and I will be sure to get them. On that note, like, subscribe, and I will see you on the next one.